Hello viewers, Super GT here. So Laguna Seca has finally dropped on Gran Turismo Sport. I'm going to give it a couple of goes in a few open lobby races, which I very recently hosted. Now this is a track that's probably, almost certainly going to be one of the daily races in one of the upcoming weeks, probably next week. But I felt like giving it a try earlier. So I opened up this lobby, a couple of you guys joined, so thank you for joining. We'll see how it plays here in Group 3 as we go here for our qualifying lap. So we did a quick little qualifying session, 5 minutes to determine the grid. So we can take a look at the circuit, how it feels. And my first lap there, 23.9, which was on course for pole position, but this next lap is going to be slightly quicker than that. So we're hunting down the German in the Lamborghini just up ahead. I'm in the McLaren 650S. And yes, a Group 3 race here. As I feel like Group 3 is probably, well, for me it's the best class, but it's probably one of the better classes for this circuit. Although I think this track is probably suitable for actually a wide range of cars. I think you can actually use, maybe even Group 1 could work here. Group 2 I think, just about. But even some of the road cars as well. So I think that's why it's such a good track. The fact that you can race many different types of cars around it. But it's a difficult one, and we're coming up to probably the most difficult corner here in the corkscrew, going over this crest on entry, and that can put off your braking point. And through here, the car actually not feeling all that stable. Well, then again, it probably wouldn't, because it's the corkscrew. Well, it's just the nature of the corkscrew, really, isn't it? Just come through the last couple of corners, turn 9 there, turn 10, fast sweeping corners. I do like these corners here, and then into the very sharp turn 11. Pretty much a hairpin. Looks 90 degrees, but it's actually very deceivingly sharp. And as we come out onto the main straight to complete this lap, we get overtaken by the German, who goes quickest. I go quicker than my previous lap, but still not as fast as him. So 23.6, and that is my quickest lap. Good enough for second in this lobby. Now the German bails out. I went for another lap here, but this kind of shows you the peril of the corkscrew. So I went in a little bit too hot and over-rotated and completely binned myself into the gravel realm. But here we go then. Our first race. Let the chaos begin. So yeah, if you see your name, do give me a shout out in the comments. Thank you for joining. But let's give it a go in the McLaren. 7 laps around Laguna Seca. Let's see how good this track is. I'm going to go into traction control setting 1 to try to get myself a better launch. And as the lights go out now, initially my launch was really good, but then the car just really wanted to bog down. You see the Lamborghini just pulls away as I get overtaken by third place, who moves just ahead of me there in the Audi R8, covering the inside, just keeping it nice and tidy. You can check the track map on the bottom to see if anyone gets sent to the Shadow Realm. But it looks as though most people have got through there pretty cleanly, actually, as we've dropped down into third. And the German in the lead, really quick guy, as proved by his qualifying. Couldn't quite keep up with him, so it'd be difficult to try to overhaul him in this race. But we'll try to do that. And then after this, we'll do a reverse grid race. Always good fun, the reverse grids. Basically, the chaos button. Press a reverse grid on, and you've just pressed the on switch for absolute chaos and anarchy at turn 1. But coming up towards the corkscrew, bit of a gap behind, as the space doesn't really open up. It is quite a narrow track. It's not the widest of all time. It's not the fastest. It's not the widest, which does make overtaking quite difficult. So we do have to try and put the pressure on. He goes a little bit wide through turn 9, downhill left-hander. Difficult corner though to get right, and kind of take a few different lines through there. So coming up towards the final corner on lap number 1. Could go for the big dive bomb, but it's so easy to overshoot. I prefer to wait, get the exit correct, and go for the move into turn 1. I think it's, or turn 2, should I say, probably the safest place to go for a move. So he doesn't defend. We're going to go to the left-hand side, look for our brake mark on the right-hand side, hit it nicely, and get into second place at turn 2 on lap 2. So it's really good to see, 2 and a bit years, I say 2 years, 2 months pretty much after this game has come out, that we're still getting free content updates. I think that's really good. New tracks, and new cars. That's always good to see. It would be nice to see a couple more Group 3 and 4 cars. I know we have had the Group 4 Toyota Supra added very recently, but it wasn't part of a free update. But it is, yeah, it's great to see that the Polyphony are still creating extra content for the game. That's really good to see, keeping it fresh, and it's good to see such a staple of the series being added in Laguna Seca. So a little bit later in the race, I was really pushing here, and you see this is the result of that. Drifting a little bit wide on the exit of turn 6, a little bit wide, we lose a few tenths. It was a really close battle, this. I mean, he is a good couple of seconds ahead, or 1.5 now. That gap's going to go up to over 2. But it was very close, and he made a mistake, so I made quite a big mistake. Then it was his turn to make a mistake, and that gap came back down to less than 1.5. So I'm in the magical 1.5 second suck zone. So I'm back within the range to have a chance. This is the final lap then. See how much closer I got. So if I just didn't quite make those mistakes, I might have been a bit closer. We do have tyre wear on, and that's, I think, the thing that caught me out. Just a little bit over driving when the tyres went off. And at the end of the race, you see here, second place, fastest lap on the last lap, 23.0, but not quite enough to go for the race win. So it was a good battle, that. Not really much overtaking between myself and second, but between myself and first, but a good battle nonetheless. So there is the chaos button, reverse grid. This is where all the fun and games really begin. Now, choosing a different car, I'm going to go for the Lexus for this second race. Reverse grid, here it is then. Starting 14th out of 15. Overwhelmed, gone quite brave. He's gone for the BMW Z4. Let's see if he can make that one work. Okay then, building up to race number 2. The start of this one is going to be fairly chaotic. Reverse grid, technically got the slowest people at the front. And away we go then. So put in slipstream, traction control onto 1, and actually I got a much better launch on this time than I did on the McLaren in the first race. I'm just going to keep to the inside, far to the left hand side, and just keep it nice and hooked on the left so no one can get around my inside. So plenty of contact through here, plenty of penalties, and this is as the Jaguar gets completely spun out. This is something you're going to see quite a lot. Porsche gets nerfed wide, Corvette off the track, Mercedes SLS off the track. Everyone's getting penalties. You're going to see penalties flashing everywhere. Jaguar comes barging his way through. Not going to get much momentum here. We're going to go side by side through the next corner. Late on the brakes. Just looking, one eye on the radar, one eye on the track. As we come uphill here, it's really, really getting very cosy between the mid-pack here. As we come into this fast sweeping left-hander, not the best place to go side by side. The Jaguar just comes skipping through. Mercedes slow. I'm going to try to overhaul him up the hill with the Z4 in close attendance behind. Up the inside into the corkscrew is a possible move, and I'm just going to slot in ahead. Got the Mercedes off, almost off up ahead, and he just regains control. Side by side with the Z4 and the Corvette through this left-hander, 3 abreast through there temporarily, and through the right-hander of turn 10 we settle into 7th place. So we've halved our starting position, braking on the 3-board into the final corner, and the SLS has nerfed the Jaguar a little bit wide. I'm going to get on the power a bit too early. I'm temporarily inside the Mercedes, and then I nerf the BMW into the wall. Look at this, 3 abreast. I've got an 8-second penalty for accidentally, inadvertently shoving the BMW into the wall. It really did kick off there, and I can't even quite explain what happened, because I was kind of half inside that Mercedes. Really strange goings on here at Laguna Seca. I suppose we aren't too far from Area 51, so some rather shady goings on here. As we come through turn number 4, we've got a nice little gap up ahead, so we're going to try to reel that in. It's an 8-lap race. I decided to add 1 more lap just to let the race kind of settle down a little bit more, rather than having the 7 laps. So through the left-hander, really difficult corner, that one. I couldn't quite get it right. In the World Tour, they were taking, you go over the red sausage and actually go 2 wheels to the left of the sausage, which is quite a risky strategy, but if you want to maximise your time, I think you can do that. And it's quite a brave move, you know, riding the sausage, but the bravest souls will win out in the end, and those who can master riding sausages will ultimately become the fastest drivers. So this lap's been alright. We are definitely closing up that gap to 4th place. As we come out of the final corner, lap number 2. BMW just dropping off behind. The Z4 not the greatest car. The Lexus always a good all-rounder. Seems to do pretty good at most circuits. Down into turn number 2 then. Go a little bit deep. We can do that, cut back for that second apex. As long as you get the power down nicely at that second part of the corner, then you're all good. So I'd like to know your thoughts on the circuit, but what I'd also like to know is the track. Let's say 2 tracks that you could choose to bring back or to bring into this game for the first time. So let's say maybe 1 fictional track and 1 real track. What would you bring? I mean, for me, it would probably be... It's a hard choice, really, but I'd probably bring back Trial Mountain as the fictional one. And as a real one, again, it's really hard because there's so many I'd like to see, but I think I'd probably go with Watkins Glen off the top of my mind, but I'll be quite happy with quite a few different tracks. Road Atlanta, Road America, I think those would be really good circuits. I do like the American ones that are in Forza but not in Gran Turismo, unfortunately. And we're just going to slide away. It's actually good to see another American circuit because a lot of the time we're getting a lot of Japanese tracks, so it's good to see the American ones making an appearance here. So going up into 3rd place, fairly chaotic so far. Overwhelm has followed me through in the Z4 up towards the final corner. The Mercedes there getting a little bit out of shape on the exit of turn 10, but he regathers control a little bit squirrely on the exit of the final corner as well. Are we going to be able to go for the move here into turn number 2 over the crest? He's going to go to the left hand side, cover it off. I'm going to try to cut back on him, and he doesn't actually quite cover it off. Space opens up. We're going to take the invitation side by side through turn 2, both apexes. He's still just about there. There he is. He's still got his nose there alongside. Going to just about have to give him space. As I'm just looking at the radar, he's still there. And we are still side by side for the 2nd corner in a row. Now for the 3rd corner in a row, side by side. And I'm going to have to still give him the space. He's still there. And the Z4 wants a piece of the action now. As finally, I think I can just slot in ahead as we have a longer left-hander on the left. So 3 or 4 corners in a row there. Good racing with myself and the BMW. Sorry, the Mercedes and the BMW coming through. So Overwhelmed, doing well in the Z4. From the back, we both started 14th and 15th. So making rather short work of this race so far. But we do have big penalties to serve from here to the end of the race. As we get a nice big shove in the rear end. Just as things were looking up. We had a really good couple of laps there. And we're going to get nerfed back into 6th place of all places, and overwhelmed by his braking capacity into the corkscrew, into the back of me, and well, we both go back down the order, back down to 5th and 6th place. We're going to have to try to do a lot of work again, but it's actually really rather enjoyable trying to do it. So we can go again. We've still got half the race left to go. So what's that going to be? About 6 minutes of racing. I was trying to calculate how long the 200 laps would be as the Corvette of Lewis James. Lewis, this is James. Please, can you stop lunging into turn 2? I was looking at how long the 200 laps of Laguna Seca would take if we did in Group 3. If you're averaging, let's say, a 125 or even less than 130, I think you're looking at... It's over 4 hours, but less than 5. So it's not too bad. We did the Spa 200, which took roughly 8 hours. So it wouldn't be anywhere near as bad as that, thankfully. It is quite a short lap around here. In a Group 3 car, it's not the longest circuit. So the 200 lap endurance wouldn't be too miserable by the end. In the tow, up the hill, behind the Corvette. Can we go for the move here? No, not quite. I think if you want to go for a move there into the corkscrew, you really need to be alongside before you get there. No need to go for the move though, he's just completely binned himself. And into the gravel realm, so we get a position for free, always a bonus when you don't have to fight for it. You lose 0 time and you get a position, always great. Into the final corner then, braking just before the 3 I think actually. That sees you into that apex quite nicely on the power as smoothly but as quickly as possible without breaking traction. And we're sitting in 4th place, still with the 6.5 second penalty. Although to be honest, I'm kind of ignoring the penalty and just focusing on the cars in front, just going to try and overtake them, see if we can do that, have a bit of fun with it. The Spaniard there with a 5.1 second penalty. Penalties are a little bit different and definitely a lot stricter at this point, as everyone seemed to get a penalty on lap 1. The stewards off going on a mad one for this race. As we come through turn 4, setting your purple there. Actually, fastest lap going to Overwhelm at the moment in the Z4 behind 23.5, marginally quicker than my 23.6, less than a tenth, less than half a tenth, less than a quarter of a tenth. come up the hill. It's very close. As we've got the Porsche in the lead, we've got the Mercedes second, Mercedes third. Mercedes in third though, going a little bit wide. Now we do have an overlap here into the corkscrew. Is it going to be enough? Later on the brakes slightly, and we're just going to tuck in ahead. That's a good move. But I wouldn't go for an out-braking move there. I'd go for only a move where you're alongside already, and then just brake where you need to brake, and then you'll get past because you have the inside. But I think going for an out-braking manoeuvre into the corkscrew is pretty tricky. I'm trying to get this guy offline. He goes narrow, good defence. Can't quite get the power on as he gets a little bit out of shape on the exit of the final corner. We're going to try again against this guy. He opened up the inside last time. Maybe he's learnt his lesson. As we just go to the left at this point here, but no, he covers the inside. He's learnt his lesson. He's not going to make the same mistake twice. As we come through turn 2, so we're going to have to be a little bit more patient with this guy this time. As the space is going to open up. Just hold him to the inside there. Just trying to get him offline basically. Trying to make him go out of position so that I can maybe get something on the exit of the corner. It's not quite happening though. He's holding his own. Through turn 4. Porsche up ahead. Looking good in the lead. We're on lap 7. Only a lap and a half left to go in this race. On the brakes nice and late. Trying to take that late apex after the sausage basically. So the sausages, you don't really want to touch them at all. Do not touch the sausages as they will not reward you in kind. But you can use them as references, as apexes. Often you're apexing just after the sausage. And that's actually a really good visual reference for a lot of these corners. So we have the overlap here. He is marginally ahead though on the outside. Goes a little bit wide on the brakes. Still there on the radar. Side by side through the chicane off the corkscrew. You don't often see that. Well, we've made the move work. Up into second with 1 lap left to go. Still a 6-second penalty. I think it's going to be very difficult to win this race because of that penalty. But we'll just try to get across the line first in terms of track position. Into the final corner. It's getting really close. As the American losing control almost, I almost follow him off there. And I'm going to stick to the slipstream. He moves over to the left-hand side. The Mercedes on my left-hand side now. So I was looking to gain position, but I might actually lose one here. Where is that Mercedes? I can't quite spot him. I'm going to go quite wide, quite deep here. Contact with the Mercedes and the Porsche. He's got himself a 5-second penalty. I could not quite see how that one came about. I think the steward's definitely smoking something quite strong here. As we come out of the exit of turn 3, he's getting really, really argy-bargy. Now I've got a Mercedes on my right-hand side. Porsche goes really deep. Now the Spaniard takes the lead out of nowhere. The Italian now in third place. He's going to cover me off into turn number 5. I'm going to go for that late apex, try to cut him back. Go for the exit speed. Can't quite do it. Into the next corner. Try and push him narrow. He's not going to make a mistake there. Actually really good defending. But you see there, goes narrow on the way in and goes wide on the way out. So I'm going to have the overlap once again. This is my favoured move, I think, around Laguna Seca. Just getting underneath people coming into the corkscrew. We have to go side by side, bit of contact on the exit. But I'm just about going to get through into the lead. And we still have that 5.5 second penalty. But what a race this has been. To fight through from near enough the back. Have a bit of an excursion halfway through the race, but then fight back once again. Really good fun. We're going to come through. I'm going to cross the line without serving this penalty. I don't think it matters too much. This lobby was all for fun. And I would say thank you all to those that joined. And thanks for the race, basically. It was really, really good fun. So after the penalty, we go down to 4th. But again, all good fun. Really enjoyed those couple of races there. So thank you all for joining. Thank you for watching. Do let me know your thoughts, and again, let me know your thoughts on the tracks that they should bring back. I highly doubt they would bring back some fictional ones from the past, but Kaz hasn't been completely against that, the idea of bringing back some tracks like Deep Forest, but you never know. I'd guess that they probably won't come back, but we may well see them in Gran Turismo 7, if and when that is a thing. But that is all from me. I do hope you enjoyed the video as always. I hope you enjoy Laguna Seca, and have a nice day everyone. I shall see you next time. Goodbye.